How do you select the best product to sell on Amazon? Well, you guys asked for it, so this is part 2 of our strict product research series. And in the first part, you'll remember we went over product discovery, coming up with high potential, giftable, and profitable product ideas. And if you haven't seen that one, I really recommend you watch it prior to this one. You can open it in a new tab up here. But in this part, I'm going to share with you how I like to choose between potential products, particularly the aspects that I focus on most. And as always, if you enjoy this video, drop it a quick like for me, but let's jump straight in. And you'll remember we discarded 2 weaker markets and we kept 2 higher potential markets. As a reminder, this is a strategic tutorial. It's not meant to actually give you product ideas, but the 2 that we found was number 1, this engraved compass. Secondly, we found this woman's tool set. And the last step in part 1 was step 4, which was to track the icebergs. And if you're not sure about iceberg theory, watch part 1. But in other words, to track the markets. And you're going to do that by filling in all the details for that market into our product funnel, which you can download for free below. And so here for the toolset for woman and engraved compass, I've added all of these data points for all of these columns. But now that all of that data is in, I'm going to focus just on my personal decision-making points, not all of the data there. If you do want to learn everything about that funnel, you can check out this video up here. But focusing on the most important points, let's move to step 5. This is to evaluate your personal alignment with the product. And the question you want to ask yourself is this something I want to sell? That might seem odd because we've been so data-driven to this point, but you do have to remember you might spend 3 months building this product and developing it with its packaging, everything with the supplier. So for me, it needs to be something that I'm going to somewhat enjoy either learning about or developing through this process. Now, personally, I could happily build both of the products that we're looking at today. I do like things like tools, even though that's for women in this case, it's actually often men buying that. So from the buyer's perspective, as a man, I could look at what are they looking at to buy for their woman. And in the engraved compass side of things, I could also enjoy building that out and the whole giftability angle there. But you want to do the same if you want to follow this approach for your products. Can you see yourself actually building that out? But I do want to emphasize it doesn't have to be your passion. That's going to slow you down. If you think, oh, it has to align with my one hobby or the one thing I'm good at or what I studied at college or university. It's not about that. It's simply that you don't want to choose a product that you have absolutely no interest in building, no knowledge of, and where others probably have a lot more knowledge than you. Why? Because number 1, you're not going to enjoy the process, which means you're not going to do as good of a job as if you enjoyed that product type. Secondly, let's take an example of makeup. I know nothing about makeup. I'm not interested in it. I would be at a complete loss in discussing components or aspects of that product type with a supplier. So what chance would I have in building that product type against someone who lives and breathes makeup and is passionate about it? So you do have to think about these 2 aspects, is how much you're going to enjoy the process and also the relative competition if your knowledge is very low in that product type. This brings us to step 6, and this is to evaluate ASIN ROI. And one of the questions I always ask is whether spending the time, energy, effort, money on this ASIN is worth it when you compare it to another ASIN. So think of it like this: the time, energy, effort put into building an individual ASIN is always the same in terms of finding a supplier, communicating with them and developing the product, making supplier and freight forwarder payments, researching keywords, creating the listing with copy and images, setting up ad campaigns. All of that is the same, whether you do ASIN 1 or 2 or 3. But ASINs differ in terms of their return. You might spend the same time, energy, effort on ASIN 1 and 2, but ASIN 1 provides way more sales every single month. Let's say 1,000 sales every month, where ASIN 2 provides 100 sales every month. In that case, ASIN 1 with 1,000 sales has a much higher ASIN ROI. And so one quick way to look at this is the average monthly sales. We can see for the woman's tool set, that's going to be 1,064 on average for page 1. Whereas for the engraved compass product, the average monthly sales is 163, so much lower. But I wouldn't fully base it simply on the average monthly sales you see here. I'm also going to look at individual products. For example, I can see certain compass products selling a good amount of sales every month, over 1,000 in a few cases. So with lower competition, there's a chance that we could do the same. And so in this example, the woman's tool set would have a higher ASIN ROI, but that wouldn't make me discard the engraved compass because I still see enough of an ASIN ROI there. What you're looking for is a serious red flag of, for example, if the average sales is 50 in a market. For me, my bare minimum is 500 sales a month. If I'm going to put time, energy, effort, money into an ASIN, I want it to at least sell 500 units a month, especially if we're looking at this $30, $40, maybe $50 sell price. Once you get higher, of course, there could be a lower sales volume that you accept. Another thing I'll just mention here that I've learned as I've sold, as long as I can change the product in a valuable way to customers and visually represent that, and that makes my product look different to what's there. So long as that is the case, I would rather enter a market with a high ASIN ROI and higher competition than enter a low competition market but which has a very low ASIN ROI. That comes down to just valuing your time, energy, and effort that is put into every ASIN, regardless of what product that is. And this brings us to step 7, evaluate profit margin. Now, if it's not going to be profitable, there is no point focusing on this idea. We need to discard it. So let's focus on that area. Now, you can see in the product funnel, we have a potential supplier for each of these products. We also have a goal sell price. This is what we want to sell for. Then we have a manufacturing cost per unit. We've established these from the supplier. So as an example here, for the woman's toolset, we found a similar type of product. And again, we would probably make some adaptations, but we can see $1 to $10, depending on how much you order. At 50 pieces, it's going to be the top of this range, of course, because that is the minimum order. So if you order the minimum amount, you're going to pay the highest price. Whereas if you did 500, this might be $8 or $7, somewhere within that range. But generally, I would peg this at about $8 if we ordered 500. And remember, we're just finding a base cost here. We haven't factored in differentiation yet. And a better example to show how to factor in differentiation to your product would be the compass here. So based on what I found, I would want to find a product that looks like this. And the reason is that number one, this is a square-edged compass. It has this kind of edge here, which is totally different from everything else within that market. So I'm always thinking, how can it be visually different, completely different to what's already there? The other aspect is I love this box here. This wooden box and this emblem here is a good option. The reason for that is I also found in review research that customers did not want our branding right on top of it. They felt that took away from the giftability of this product and the kind of genuine, clean feeling of this product. So that's a really important thing we have to factor in. We could put our brand on here, but maybe we put it on the bottom or the side or even inside of the lid. But you do want to listen to your customers, as design for giftability here is going to be highly important. If we just scroll through the compass page, you can see these are all circular options which look similar in some way. There's no type of square-edged version here, and that would really help us stand out. We also see the more giftable options with boxes and bags selling much better. Another tip I have for you is instead of looking for just the base product and then, for example, the wooden box separately, try and find a supplier which offers 2 or even 3 of the things that you're looking for in one. That's going to save you on cost. For example, I originally found this compass but without the box on a separate supplier listing, but then I managed to find a supplier which offered both together And that is going to save you on cost. Even if it's $1 per unit, that makes a huge difference in the long run. But one of the aspects I really do want to add here is a leather case for the compass, as you can see in this example here. Now we can't find the bag alone, so what I'm going to do is just estimate the additional cost for that and add it into our product. So I'm going to add $1.50 for every single unit based on this extra leather bag. So if we look at our base cost, here is our range. So for 50 pieces, we would pay $12.50. At 500, we may pay more around $9 within this range. So $9 plus for our additional leather bag, another $1.50. So I'm going to put the estimate buy price for manufacturing at $10.50 here. And you can see in manufacturing cost, that is added here. Of course, do the same for your other products. The next aspect we have to estimate is international freight. That is shipping from your manufacturer to Amazon FBA. There's an easy way to do this. One way you can find this is actually on your supplier's listing, if it's available. But in other cases, you're actually going to have to contact the manufacturer to get these details. But as you see here, if we scroll down on the woman's tool set, you can see this section where packaging and delivery is shown. Now a carton is this size in centimeters, it weighs this much, and it includes 40 pieces. And that is all the info that you need in order to generate a quote. Then head over to freightos.com, and here you're going to select the origin. So it is going to be a factory in China, and as we saw there, this factory is going to be in Ningbo. Then for destination, business address, here we're going to choose fulfillment center as we're sending to FBA, and you can use the FTW1 if you're unsure, just as an example. Then the load. So here we're going to be doing crates or boxes. That is, we are calculating this by cartons because that's the metric that we got on the supplier listing. And I worked out it's going to be about 12 cartons. And then here we drop in the dimensions and weight as per that listing. And then the value of the goods. Now we know it's going to cost us $10 per unit, 500 units, $5,000. So this is based on the manufacturing cost. And we're going to say the goods will be ready in more than 2 weeks. Done and search. Now this next stage does include a customs bond, which we're adding. Remember, a customs bond will cover all duties and taxes for importing these goods. So we've included that here. Now we can search. And then we gain our results here. We can see the best value is 1129. This is by sea. And it's going to take about 50 days to arrive. The quickest is Air Express, and we can see it's going to be there within about 2 weeks, but that's going to cost double. It's going to cost way more. So we would go with an option like this, 1129. We take that full amount and we divide it by the number of units, and that gives us $2.26 per unit. That is our international shipping cost. And then you want to add this into your product funnel under shipping fees, as we've done here. And then when we add those two together, that is manufacturing and shipping, we are going to get an estimate landed cost per unit. That is everything that it costs you to make that product available for sale within the FBA fulfillment center. And this number will automatically calculate for you from the 2 prior points we entered. Then we get to our fees. The first is the Amazon referral fee. It's what you pay Amazon every time because they help you make the sale. They have all the customers. That is going to be 15% of your goal sell price. And the second one is your FBA fulfillment fee. So what Amazon charges you every time a customer buys your product, they pick, pack, ship it out to the customer, handle customer returns, etc. So what do they charge you for the logistics? For our woman's tool set, $658, and for the compass, $364. And then we're able to actually get our dollar profit per unit. And as you see here, for the tool set, $20.10, for the compass, $17.95. And that is calculated by taking your goal sell price minus the manufacturing cost, shipping cost, that is your landed cost together, minus the referral fee, the FBA fulfillment fee. That gives you your dollar profit before considering PPC ad spend. Then this allows us to calculate a profit margin simply by taking our profit divided by our goal sell price times 100. In this case, the woman's tool set's at 42.78%, and the Compass at 44.89%. I personally like to look for a profit margin here, a pre-ad spend profit margin here of above 40%, because that's going to allow for some buffer for that PPC ad spend. Now, profit margin is actually one of my favorite checks here because it's often very telling. It will tell you quite quickly that this was a great looking idea, but it's not profitable at all. You need to discard it. Unfortunately, in this case, these products are very closely matched when we use the estimates we have. So we can't really choose between them based on profit alone. However, even with a very high profit margin, you don't only want to base your decision on that, because even with the most profitable product, if you just sell exactly what's already on Amazon, you're going to end up competing on reviews or even worse, price, which is then going to eat up that profit margin. So you also need to look at how much you can truly better the product. This brings us to step 8. That is to evaluate development potential. Here, you do want to do review research, and you're looking at what do customers complain about? What do they hate about the products? Also, what do they love about the products? Because you do want to retain those aspects. But out of this, you're going to get a lot of data, and then you need to look at, can I fix that problem? Can I solve that issue or not? Because sometimes you cannot. Sometimes problems are just kind of inherent with products. So you need to find problems you can solve. And even better is if you can solve them or improve the product visually. Remember, on Amazon, people aren't picking up, touching, smelling a product. They are looking. So visuals are the key. And you want to find changes or adaptations that are going to make your product stand out from the other results there on the main image specifically. And in the product funnel here, you can see you will list problem 1. Problem 2, but also once you've listed problem 1, differentiation 1. So people don't like that the brand name interferes with the style and design. So what is your differentiation going to be? That is to not make our brand that prominent, not make our logo so prominent on this, use more natural emblems and symbols, and then have our logo more subtly somewhere else on the product. And that is one example of a good visual adaptation, because when people are scrolling through the results, they're quickly seeing the product and the main image and all these big brand names on them, and then yours doesn't have your logo so prominently on the product. It actually has an emblem or symbol in line with this niche that actually adds value to the product, and your logo or emblem's much smaller somewhere else on the product. Also, this is purchased 90% of the time as a gift. So there are 1,000 ways that we could develop this as a gift further. For example, including a customizable card that might even fit nicely into the wooden box. There's a whole host of ways we could improve that gifting experience, and those are all visual changes. So this has a very strong visual development score. Whereas when we look at the woman's tool set, this actually scored a lot weaker on this aspect. There are a lot of changes, adaptations, improvements we can make. We can include different tools, higher quality tools. However, in the reviews, most people were simply happy with the product. So this one would actually be more difficult to differentiate, especially in terms of looking different on those results pages, because remember, you got all these sets, and it's not like customers scrolling on that page can see every single individual tool quickly, even though yours might be way higher quality. So in terms of this, the Engraved Compass actually scores higher. And this brings us to step 9. This is to choose your product. So based on this in-depth evaluation, here are the most important aspects that I consider. The product has a pre-ad spend profit margin of 40% or greater at a price that I know customers accept in this market. Number 2, I can make this product significantly different and better in a valued way for customers than what is already available. And there's evidence for customers valuing that adaptation. And 3, I'm able to easily visually represent that adaptation and use that for marketing the product. And at the end of our product funnel, we can see a profit score, market score, development score, and a weighted score overall. So the Engraved Compass outperforming the woman's tool set. And so between these two, although I didn't expect it in the beginning, I would choose the engraved compass product over the woman's tool set here, because number one, it's going to be easier for me to differentiate valuably and differentiate in a way I can visually express and market my product with. Secondly, it has a higher giftability angle. And that brings us to click that like button. I hope you did enjoy this. As a reminder, I train sellers just like you in a professional online e-commerce school called Amazon FBA Mastery. If you do want a program that holds your hand through every single stage of this business model, be sure to check that out in the pinned comment below and also the first link in the description. But I hope that my thinking on this helps you choose between your own high potential product ideas, and I will catch you in the next video.